Last week, I opened my friend's pantry after 3 days without power. The smell hit me first. Peanut butter separated into oil slicks. Rice crawled with bugs. Thousands of dollars turned into hazardous waste in 72 hours. You know what frightens me more than running out of food? Watching quality supplies become worthless because I failed to prepare. This August, the heat won't just sear your skin, it'll devastate your food supply. Extreme temperatures are already destroying crops, melting plastic containers, rotting fresh goods, and straining power grids. And if you assume your pantry is protected, you're wrong. Severe heat is ready to reveal every vulnerability in your food storage. We're discussing ruined nutrition, spoiled basics, and families left desperate in power outage neighborhoods. But here's the encouraging news. You have time to correct it. You have time to ready your pantry for what's ahead. Because if you postpone until the heat strikes, it'll already be too late. Number one, heat-resistant pantry staples. When outside temperatures soar into triple digits, your pantry becomes a combat zone, and most people are unaware. Foods that seem shelf-stable in normal weather can quickly become rancid, bitter, or useless when the heat hammers down. And in August 2025, with extreme temperatures looming, your pantry could transition from fully stocked to destroyed in mere days. The primary thing you need to comprehend is that now not all shelf-stable foods are made for heat. Brown rice? It turns rancid quicker because of the oil in the bran layer. Nut butters? They separate and decay unless kept cool. Chocolate, naturally. But even products like whole wheat flour, olive oil, and some dried fruits deteriorate faster in the heat than most people recognize. So what should you stock differently? You start with the essentials that can endure the heat. White rice instead of brown. White rice may be lacking some nutrients, but it survives much longer, especially in hot conditions. Instant mashed potatoes, lightweight, no spoilage danger, and last for years if sealed properly. Dry pasta, especially short forms like macaroni or penne, resist heat exceptionally well. Shelf-stable boxed meals like mac and cheese, as long as they don't have real cheese packets, select powdered. Then progress into dry beans and lentils, black beans, pinto, chickpeas, red lentils. These resist the heat and supply protein, fiber, and calories without needing refrigeration. All they need is water and a heat source to cook, which we'll discuss later. Coming up, powdered and evaporated milk. Traditional dairy? Abandon it. Even plant-based milks can deteriorate rapidly in high temps. But powdered milk can survive 1 to 2 years if sealed in a cool, dry container. And evaporated milk in cans is heat-tolerant and still supplies calcium and creaminess for baking, cereal, or coffee. Don't ignore crackers, tortillas, and hardtack biscuits. Bread develops mold quickly in heat, but crackers sealed in Mylar or vacuum packs, they last. Tortillas, especially flour-based, can tolerate warmth and fold into dozens of simple, no-oven meals. And here's a surprisingly wise move. Stock dehydrated meals and freeze-dried foods. These were previously just for campers or survivalists. Now, with mainstream demand rising, they're nutrient-rich, durable, and essentially immune to spoilage as long as they remain dry. Benefit: most need minimal cooking, perfect for when it's too hot to use the stove. Pro tip: skip canned goods with high oil content. Products like canned spaghetti, chili with meat, or curry sauces tend to break down faster when stored in heat-prone areas. Stay with water-packed canned vegetables, plain tomato paste, fruit and syrup, or beans and brine. And above everything, watch your storage containers. Plastic bins may release toxins or distort under pressure. If possible, store critical foods in metal tins, glass jars, or Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. These methods keep the temperature impact low and extend shelf life even if your pantry lacks air conditioning. Now consider this. If the power died today and the heat climbed to 25 degrees Fahrenheit, how many items in your kitchen would survive the week? Be honest. The time to reconsider your pantry isn't when the warning bells ring or the first heat wave arrives. It's right now when the stores are still supplied and your shelves remain within your control. Review your food today. Figure out what can stay and what must leave. Replace the heat-sensitive with the heat-resistant. Because when your neighbors are throwing away melted jars and ruined rice, you'll be sitting comfortable with meals that persist and no awful smells polluting your kitchen. Number 2, water storage and purification. In severe heat, water isn't simply a convenience, it's a survival necessity. And when August comes with burning temperatures, heat domes, and potential rolling blackouts, the real emergency won't be in your pantry. It'll be at your taps. And if you're not already planning your water supply, you're preparing for catastrophe. Here's what the average household doesn't realize. In severe heat, your water needs multiply overnight. You're not just drinking to stay hydrated. You're replacing sweat, fighting heat stroke, cooking, washing, and maintaining food safety. And the higher the temperature goes, the faster water becomes a limited resource. Now envision that while temperatures soar, your municipal water system fails pressure, or your power dies and your well quits pumping. Even worse, old pipes in your area begin leaching bacteria into warm, still water. That's not a theory. That's already happening in rural counties across the U.S. So here's how you get ahead of it. Step 1, store wisely. Plastic water bottles seem like the easiest solution, but most are manufactured with cheap, heat-sensitive plastics that break down and release chemicals when exposed to high temperatures. That 24-pack sitting in your garage, it could already be damaged. Instead, purchase BPA-free 5-gallon water jugs, glass containers, or ceramic dispensers that shield contents from UV and chemical breakdown. Store water in cool, dark spots away from walls that receive sun exposure. And if you must keep bottles in warmer areas, rotate them frequently and mark the storage dates clearly. Step 2, don't depend solely on storage. Purification is your safety net. Even the cleanest looking water can be polluted quickly in high heat. Bacteria reproduces faster. Algae grows in standing containers. A small leak or insect entry can ruin a gallon in a day. Stock various water purification methods. Boil when you have power or fire. Purification tablets. Chlorine dioxide or iodine for emergencies. Portable filters like Life Straw or Sawyer Mini for personal use. Gravity-fed ceramic filters for long-term, no-power use. And here's the most overlooked: solar distillers. A basic setup can purify water using only sunlight. A lifesaver in a heat wave when you may have no fuel or electricity. Step 3, calculate your volume. The standard is 1 gallon per person per day minimum. That's just for drinking and basic use. In severe heat, plan for 1.5 to 2 gallons per person daily. So for a family of 4, that's at least 60 gallons for a 1-week emergency. Sounds like much, but it's stacked properly. It doesn't need much space, especially when lives are at stake. And don't forget, water isn't only about drinking. Cooking, rehydrating, food, washing hands, cooling down during heat stroke, all requires water. I recommend storing a separate non-drinking supply like rain barrels or reclaimed water for cleaning or flushing. Just ensure it's clearly labeled and never used for drinking. One additional tip: keep several cooling water tactics in your pantry, like spray bottles for misting, wet towels, or hand crank fans that can cool your body with minimal water use. It may sound simple, but in 100+ degree heat with no AC, it could mean the difference between functioning and collapsing. So here's your task. Evaluate your water planet today. Where is it stored? How much do you have? How long will it last if the grid fails? Because when the temperature jumps and the faucet runs dry, it won't matter what else you have. If you lack water, nothing else operates. Number 3, canned proteins. When the power dies and the fridge stops, the first food to spoil is always your protein supply. Meat, eggs, dairy, gone in hours. But what if the temperature outside is above 100 degrees Fahrenheit and there's no way to cook, refrigerate, or resupply for days? That's the tough reality many regions will encounter in August. And if you haven't created a heat-proof protein reserve, you could be left hungry, weak, and exposed when your body needs strength the most. Protein isn't only for muscle. It's vital in high heat conditions. It keeps you satisfied, controls blood sugar, and helps your body recover when stress and dehydration exhaust you. But not all protein stores well in extreme temperatures. Many pantry items spoil quickly, And even shelf-stable goods like jerky or nut butters break down or turn rancid when stored in heat over time. That's why your primary backup must be canned proteins. Simple, durable, and heat-resistant. Start with the standards. Canned chicken and tuna. Both are packed in water or oil and sealed in high-temperature, sterilized containers. They can survive 2 to 5 years and stay safe even if your storage area gets hot. Tuna delivers essential omega-3s, and canned chicken can be added to salads, wraps, or eaten directly from the tin. Just make sure you purchase low-sodium versions if you're preparing for long-term hydration management. Next on the list, Spam and other canned lunch meats. Think what you want about them, but when refrigeration dies, Spam becomes a protein champion. It's high-calorie, loaded with salt, and can be eaten cold or fried if you've got a heat-safe cooking setup. Canned corned beef and Vienna sausages also survive years and supply fat and protein to sustain you when other food options are limited or spoiled. Don't overlook the worth of canned beans. They're plant-based, affordable, and supply a combination of protein and fiber. Chickpeas, kidney beans, black beans, and navy beans can be added to wraps, cold salads, or eaten alone. Just remember to stock manual can openers. Openers or your pantry becomes useless weight. Also, cycle your cans regularly to avoid metal fatigue in older units exposed to heat. Include some shelf-stable tofu and vacuum-sealed lentil packs to vary your options. These may not survive as long as traditional canned goods, but they're ready to eat and gentle on digestion, which is important when your body is under heat stress. Lentils also cook quicker than most beans if you're using limited fuel or solar cooking methods. Simply put, variety isn't just pleasant, it's nutritional security. Packaging is important too. Skip cans with pop tops, which are more likely to fail in extreme conditions. Choose solid seal cans and store them above the ground, away from direct heat sources or sunlight. Even a 10-degree difference can extend shelf life by months. Stack wisely. Mark with markers and maintain your rotation strict. First in, first out always succeeds when temps climb. The key point, you need protein that survives August, not just winter. Canned meat, beans, and high-protein emergencies packs provide you the fuel to combat fatigue, resist heat exhaustion, and remain strong while the grid fails and the supply chain breaks. Don't delay until your freezer dies and your neighborhood starts cooking spoiled meat. Create your high-heat protein plan now, while the shelves are still stocked and the air remains cool. Number 4, electrolytes and salt preservation. When the body gets too hot, it doesn't just sweat, it loses life. You're not just losing water, you're losing electrolytes, the minerals your body needs to operate. Sodium, potassium, magnesium. Without them, your muscles spasm, your energy drops, and in extreme cases, your heart can even stop. And in a heat wave, the danger isn't just high, it's inevitable. That's why storing water alone isn't enough. You must store your minerals too. Most people think that hydration is only about consuming more water. It isn't. If you continue drinking water without replacing electrolytes, you're actually worsening things. It's called hyponatremia, and it can cause confusion, nausea, and even death in extreme heat. That's why your pantry needs more than just gallons of liquid. It needs salt, minerals, and a strategy. Start with oral rehydration salts, ORS. These are basic packets you mix with clean water to immediately restore electrolyte balance. You can buy them in bulk online or even create your own using salt, sugar, and baking soda in the correct ratios. They're small, inexpensive, and life-saving. Every home should stock at least a week's supply per person, especially during summer months or emergencies. Next, stock electrolyte powders and tablets. Brands like LMNT Liquid IV and New Yun provide high sodium, high potassium formulas specifically created for heat stress. Some are flavored, some aren't. Just read the labels. You want low sugar, high salt options that can be mixed into any water you store. Maintain variety. When food is limited and heat is high, even a flavored electrolyte drink can lift morale. Now let's examine salt as a preservation method. Before refrigeration, salt was the world's original food preserver. It extracts moisture from meat and vegetables, destroying bacteria and maintaining food safety in hot conditions. If you lose power but you have adequate salt, you can still preserve meat or cure food until you locate another storage option. Kosher salt, pickling salt, and Himalayan salt won't have extended shelf lives and multiple applications in survival prep. But salt isn't only for emergencies. It's a cooking necessity, a nutrient, and even a trade item if shortages continue longer than expected. Store it in airtight, moisture-proof containers. Humidity and heat can create clumping or spoilage. Consider vacuum sealing smaller salt packets to maintain them over time. Salt is inexpensive now, it won't be later. There's also the choice of stocking natural electrolyte sources. Canned coconut water, if stored properly, can survive months and provide quick potassium in a crisis. Dried fruits like bananas, apricots, and raisins contain magnesium and sodium, but store them carefully since they're susceptible to heat and pests. When you rotate your pantry, examine for stickiness, swelling, or mold, and don't overlook your pets. Animals also experience electrolyte loss in the heat, and pet electrolyte solutions are more difficult to locate in a crisis. Stock several powdered or liquid options designed for dogs and cats. A collapse doesn't only impact humans, it affects the entire household. Here's the reality. You can live without carbs. You can limit protein. But without electrolytes, your body will fail in heat. Include this in your food plan now, because when the air feels like a furnace and your body begins to fail, it won't be hunger that strikes first. It'll be salt depletion. And that's one crisis you can totally avoid if you act today. Number 5, cook-free and low-fuel meals. When a heat wave strikes hard, cooking isn't just bothersome. It can be downright dangerous. The last thing you need during a blackout in 105-degree weather is standing over a stove or open flame, increasing your body temperature even more. In extreme heat, your objective isn't just to eat, it's to survive safely without worsening things. That's why your pantry needs cook-free or low-fuel meals that don't require power, refrigeration, or lengthy prep time. Start with the essentials: ready-to-eat, shelf-stable meals. This covers vacuum-packed entrees, meals ready to eat, and single-serve soups or stews that can be consumed straight from the pouch or can. While they may not be restaurant quality, these meals are created for situations exactly like this. No cooking, no cooling, no cleanup. And during a heat crisis, a simple pull tab can be a lifeline. One of the smartest prepper choices is stocking nut butters: peanut, almond, sunflower. They're high-calorie, packed with healthy fats, and don't need heat to eat. Spread on crackers or tortillas, they create a satisfying meal in seconds. Just skip versions with added dairy or chocolate, which can spoil quicker in high temperatures. Choose all natural and store them in cool, shaded areas when possible. Another crucial category: no-cook grains and starches. Consider instant oats, couscous, or ramen noodles. Oats can be soaked overnight in water or shelf-stable milk to create overnight oats, a cool, filling meal ideal for hot weather. Couscous can cook in hot water alone. No simmering necessary. Ramen can be made with just boiled water, and if fuel's scarce, you can even cold soak it. These are the meal types that provide you carbs and comfort without exhausting your resources. Tortillas are your greatest ally in heat prep. Unlike our bread, they don't mold easily and can be stored in vacuum packs or low-oxygen environments to extend shelf life. Mix with beans, canned meats, or cheese spread, and you have wraps that feed your family without a single flame. Include canned veggies or salsa for extra flavor and nutrients. But what if even boiling water becomes too dangerous or fuel is limited? That's where solar cookers and rocket stoves help. Solar ovens use sunlight to gradually heat food. No electricity, no fire, just patience. Rocket stoves burn twigs or biomass with extreme efficiency and virtually no smoke. Ideal for outdoor use in hot climates without drawing attention or overheating your kitchen. A one-time purchase can mean safe cooking regardless of what the grid does. Also, think about cold protein shakes. Store powdered protein and shelf-stable plant-based milks like soy or almond. Mix in a shaker bottle and you have a high-protein, zero-heat meal. It's especially beneficial for kids, seniors, or anyone losing appetite in the heat. Keep powdered greens and fruit blends close for added nutrition without needing refrigeration. Remember, the objective isn't just survival, it's maintaining energy and performance in harsh conditions. A meal that's quick, cool, and fuel-free helps you think better, move safer, and prevent heat exhaustion. Your pantry shouldn't require power, complex tools, or multiple steps to prepare. It should function even in the worst situation. Begin creating your no-cook shelf today. Test yourself. Can you survive 72 hours without heating a single meal? If the answer is no, your pantry isn't prepared for what August might deliver. Address it now while you still have the time, energy, and choices. Number 6, temperature-stable storage methods. Your food is only as secure as its storage location, and when extreme heat dominates, most modern kitchens become slow cookers for spoilage. That perfectly organized pantry? It's a disaster waiting to happen if it's not designed to handle climbing temperatures. In August, when the heat continues late into the night and the power grid is stressed, your storage approach can determine your entire prep strategy's success or failure. Most people store food based on available space, not temperature. But temperature changes are among the leading causes food spoils before the expiration date. Dry goods stored in 90-degree Fahrenheit rooms break down faster. Canned items can burst under high heat. Even freeze-dried food can lose nutritional content if it sits in the wrong location. So your initial step is finding your coolest indoor area, even if it means moving furniture or giving up closet space. Avoid storing food near exterior walls, particularly those facing west. These soak up and release heat all afternoon. Pantries beside ovens or water heaters are equally risky. Instead, seek interior closets, shaded basements, or even under-bed storage in air-conditioned rooms. And if AC is a luxury you could lose during a blackout, prepare for passive cooling using thermal curtains, foil insulation panels, or blackout fabric to reduce room temps naturally. Container selection is crucial too. Plastic bends, glass shatters, but Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, metal tins, and food-grade buckets with gamma lids. They're built to survive in unstable environments. Store bulk grains, flour, sugar, or pasta in these containers with silica gel packs to combat moisture. Stack them above the floor to prevent heat from concrete, and don't allow them to touch walls that warm up in the sun. If you have a garage or shed and no other option, consider constructing a DIY root cellar-style cabinet. All it requires is a wooden box, some insulation, several vent holes, and a shaded corner. Even a modest drop of 10 to 15 degrees in storage temperature can extend the lifespan of certain foods. Use frozen water bottles or ceramic jugs filled with cold water to naturally control temperatures inside a small pantry. Another wise purchase, a fridge thermometer, even for dry goods. Place one in your pantry or storage room to track actual temperatures during the day. You'll be surprised how hot things become behind a closed door. Once you identify your problem areas, you can adjust, rotate, or move high-risk items before they're damaged. For your most valuable supplies like medicine, vitamins, and high-fat items, keep a small cooler or thermal bag ready. In an emergency, you can quickly move these items to the coolest area of your home or a shaded outdoor spot if the power fails. Label your containers. Draw a map. Know where everything is located and how rapidly it will spoil if conditions shift. This may seem excessive until the first wave of 110-degree heat arrives and you open a can to discover it bloated, corroded, or stinking. At that moment, all your prep, all your spending, and all your planning have been wasted. Food security isn't just about what you buy, it's about how you store it. So before you purchase another case of canned goods or bag of beans, consider, where will it be stored? Because if it can't survive the heat, it won't last long enough to help you. Store intelligently now or suffer later. Number 7, managing spoilage, rotation, and waste. When you're creating a heat-resilient pantry, it's not just about what you store, but it's about how long it remains safe. Extreme temperatures speed up spoilage, harm packaging, and attract pests. And without power, refrigeration, or steady indoor cooling, even shelf-stable foods can spoil much faster than the label indicates. That's why you need more than supplies. You need a management system. Spoilage is deceptive in the heat. Cans look normal until they swell. Packaged goods smell bad before they change appearance. Rice and grains may feel fine, but contain moisture inside the bag. And most concerning, heat can damage the lining inside cans, causing corrosion and contamination. So your primary defense is straightforward. Examine your food monthly, particularly during summer. Look for obvious warning signs. Check for rust, swelling, dents, leaks, or sticky residue. Any of these warrants discarding the item immediately. Don't risk expired or damaged food in a crisis. If you're uncertain, don't open and taste it. Spoiled food cannot be rescued, and food poisoning during a heat wave is a medical emergency you don't want to experience. That's why food rotation is critical. Apply the FIFO method. First in, first out. The oldest food moves to the front of your shelf. The newest goes to the back. Mark every can, jar, and bag with a black marker indicating the month and year you purchased it. When you shop for groceries, check your pantry first. Use what's oldest, replace it right away. Develop a basic inventory list, even on paper, showing what you have and when it needs rotation. Organize it by category: canned goods, grains, protein, liquids, snacks. Then establish a schedule. Once monthly, spend 30 minutes doing a review. You'll discover problems early and save money by preventing unnecessary replacements. If you discover foods approaching expiration, use them immediately, not later. Plan weekly meals around items about to expire. Give away what you won't consume. Freeze items if you have power, and if not, make an exchange. Convert canned peaches into smoothies. Use older beans for chili. Prepare rice dishes that consume extra grains. A proactive rotation approach means less waste, reduced costs, and improved preparedness. In high heat, pests become a greater danger too. Insects and rodents are desperate for food and water. Your pantry is valuable territory. Use sealed containers, diatomaceous earth along baseboards, and peppermint oil pouches to deter intruders. And inspect your dry goods weekly, particularly flour, oats, and rice. One invasion can destroy your entire supply. Finally, master the skill of preserving surplus before it spoils. Dehydrate fruits and vegetables. Pickle leftovers with vinegar and salt. Create jerky from protein approaching its expiration. Heat doesn't just reduce shelf life, it demands creativity. The more you master now, the less you'll waste later when supplies become tight. Every can you throw away is lost money. Every spoiled bag is a lost meal. In August, heat waste accumulates rapidly, and recovery becomes more difficult and costly. So transform your pantry into a dynamic system, one that breathes, rotates, and adjusts. Because when the power's gone and the sun won't stop, it's the systems you create today that will keep you fed tomorrow. Number 8, herbs, seeds, and indoor growing. When food systems break down and heat eliminates fresh produce, the first thing people miss isn't meat or snacks. It's taste and freshness. And no pantry, however well stocked, can substitute the sharp bite of a fresh herb or the satisfaction of something you cultivated yourself. In extreme heat, outdoor gardens fail. Soil hardens, water disappears, pests multiply. That's why you must move your growing indoors, where you manage the environment and maintain your food supply alive even during the harshest weather. Begin simply: herbs. They're simple to grow, need little space, and convert bland survival meals into something comforting and familiar. Basil, mint, parsley, cilantro, chives, oregano. These all thrive in small containers on windowsills, countertops, or indoor shelves. They grow quickly, they continue regrowing after cutting, and they require only light, water, and patience. In a crisis, a few fresh herbs can improve morale and immune support in ways no can ever could. Next, store non-GMO heirloom seeds that handle heat and grow rapidly. Consider leafy greens like spinach and arugula, radishes, bush beans, and even small root vegetables like carrots. Focus on plants that develop quickly, within 30 to 45 days, and don't need deep soil or constant light. These are your emergency fresh food supply, and in a prolonged heat wave, they could be your only source of vitamins your pantry cannot supply. Hydroponic systems are no longer exclusively for tech enthusiasts. You can now purchase countertop-sized hydroponic kits with integrated LED lights that use minimal power and water. Lettuce, kale, and herbs grow clean and fast with virtually no mess. If the grid remains up, it's a steady source of fresh food. And if it fails, many of these systems can operate with a small solar generator or even a portable battery pack. Another outstanding indoor growing tool is a sprouting kit. You don't need soil, sun, or even gardening skills. Just soak and rinse seeds like mung beans, lentils, alfalfa, or broccoli, and you'll have edible sprouts in 3 to 5 days. They're filled with nutrients and enzymes that are almost impossible to store long-term otherwise. And they're crispy, clean, and refreshing when the rest of your food feels heavy and dry. You should also consider microgreens. They're like infant versions of common vegetables, but loaded with even more nutrients. These grow in trays with just a bit of soil or coconut coir. In about 10 days, you can harvest greens that add taste, fiber, and color to your meals. Store seed packets in a cool, dry location and rotate them yearly to maintain viability. Storing seeds is a type of insurance. Keep them in Mylar bags with desiccants inside sealed containers. Label everything clearly with dates. And don't just store seeds. Practice using them now. Indoor growing is a talent, not a pastime. And you don't want your first planting attempt to be during a crisis. Finally, indoor growing provides you something no canned food can: control. When outdoor crops fail, prices increase, and deliveries slow, your small herb garden becomes your personal produce section. You're not just surviving, you're still living, still feeding your family food that grew in your home. That's control. That's peace of mind. So collect some seeds, install a light, and plant something today. Because when extreme heat makes the outside world dangerous, your windowsill could be the most important farm you have ever owned. Number 9, emergency heat-triggered power prep. When the heat rises, the grid fails. It's a basic pattern we've observed in city after city: rolling blackouts, transformer breakdowns, brownouts that extend into complete outages. And when the power fails, your pantry isn't just dark, it's at risk. Food starts to spoil, water systems halt, and everything that relies on electricity, your fans, your fridge, your freezer, becomes useless weight. That's why the last step in your pantry prep is power resilience, particularly for heat-driven emergencies. Begin with monitoring. If your power cuts out during a heat wave, you must know what food is still safe and what needs to be consumed or discarded. A basic fridge and freezer thermometer can save hundreds of dollars in supplies. If the fridge climbs above 40 degrees Fahrenheit for more than 2 hours, the food is in danger. Keep one in the door and one in the back, and check them after every power interruption. Don't guess. Use information to act quickly. Next, safeguard what's important with cooling backups. Small solar-powered fans can help move air in one room. Even a basic battery backup unit or solar generator can keep a mini fridge or USB fan operating long enough to extend your food's lifespan. Focus on essential loads, not the entire house. Your goal isn't comfort, it's preservation. For perishables, you require a heat evacuation strategy. If the fridge is down and the temps are high, eat high-risk foods first. Milk, eggs, meats. Consume them or lose them. Keep a cooler preloaded with reusable ice packs in your freezer. If you detect a blackout approaching, transfer perishables quickly and cover them with thermal blankets or towels to insulate. Don't overlook low-tech insulation techniques. A foam cooler and several frozen bottles of water can extend your food's life by 12 to 24 hours. Cover fridges and pantries with reflective insulation or blackout curtains. Even positioning cardboard between shelves and hot walls can help. The goal is basic: gain time until the grid returns or you switch to shelf-stable food. Then there's lighting. Power outages at night during extreme heat are severe. No AC, no fans, no light. It's a recipe for panic. Store solar lanterns, rechargeable headlamps, and USB lights in your pantry, charged and prepared. They assist with inventory checks, food rotation, and safety during late-night heat stress. Finally, plan for communication. Keep a battery-powered or hand-crank emergency radio to track blackout schedules or weather alerts. If you lose internet and cell service, This becomes your only connection to the outside. Knowing when assistance is coming or isn't influences how you use every resource in your pantry. Your pantry isn't just about food, it's about survival tactics. And extreme heat doesn't just challenge your supplies, it challenges your systems. So power-proof your pantry now. Develop a blackout procedure, store foods that don't need cooling, and prepare the equipment that keeps your essentials alive when the grid fails. Because in August, it's not just the food that melts under pressure, it's the infrastructure. And if you're not ready for that moment, everything else you've prepared can vanish with the flicker of a dying light bulb. The heat is coming. And it's not just a weather prediction, it's a challenge of your pantry, your planning, and your ability to defend your home when everything around you begins to collapse. August 2025 won't wait for you to catch up. But you've witnessed what's achievable. You understand what must be done. Begin now. Rotate your food, secure your water, defend your power, and grow what you can. Because when others are panicking in the heat, you'll be the one who prepared ahead. Hope won't rescue you. Preparation will. And you still have time to take action, but not much.